Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Effects Loop. I'm your host, Jay Byrne. I just wanted to go for a little walk today and do kind of a talk because there's this whole thing going on where people are pretty much obsessed with the notion that bright guitar tones are not good for some reason. Like amplifiers that are bright, things need to be darker, like harsh high frequencies, that kind of thing. I grew up in the era of like heavy metal and electric, and those type of electric guitar sounds. And being bright was what you wanted because you needed to cut through in a mix. So I find it weird when everybody nowadays is searching for these Dumble-esque tones where basically what's happening is you're getting these like really muddy guitar tones. Dark, warm is the term that's used. I know this is gonna be a controversial opinion and a lot of people are probably gonna not agree with me because I get comments sometimes about my own guitar tones that they're bright, you gotta dial that treble down. It's way too trebly, this and that, To me, like, I want a guitar tone that like cuts a little bit. Because the darker it is, it's just, it sounds muddy to my ears. Doesn't really have definition to it, I guess. I don't really know how to describe it in any other way. Other than the fact that I think it's kind of weird that the current crop of guitar, players, I mean, I know, I scour the forums, I read the forums, and I see a lot of people wanting darker and darker tones. But there's a lot of amp companies that are kind of designing their tones to be rather dark. And you play these amps, and I don't know, I just find them muddy, personally. Like, I'm a fan of the Katana that I have, the MK2, the head and the cab. And I got a Celestion. Well, it's the speaker in it is the equivalent of a Celestion greenback, and it can be bright. It can have a little bit of a harshness to the sound, but that's okay. I mean, you can dial it out a little bit, but I tend to like to keep it in there because to me that sounds, it just sounds right to my ears. Maybe because I'm getting older and my hearing's getting worse. Who knows? I'm not really sure. But it's a very weird thing to me. Like, I was reading a forum the other day and people were like just arguing over it. Like, yeah, well, I don't like my guitar tone to be like really bright and fizzy, and I like a nice warm guitar tone. And I'm like, so you want a muddy guitar tone is what you want. It's not warm, it's muddy. So I just don't get it. I honestly don't get it. It was just something that was in my head and I just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit. And I mean, I would think personally that in a mix, if you were playing live, you'd want your guitar to have some cut, in that mix. And a lot of times when you hear guitars, they're the actual guitar tracks that are EQ'd for a guitar album, for an album. These guitar tracks are brittle and harsh, and they don't particularly sound great in isolation. I think a lot of this comes from people just playing in their homes, like bedroom players hanging around in their homes, just trying to get the best sound that they can possibly get out of what they're hearing with their own ears in the room, as opposed to actually getting a sound that would work in, say, like a band context, like a mix or something along those lines. But I don't know, that's my opinion, and I personally prefer a brighter tone. I think to my ears it just sounds better. That's the way guitar is supposed to sound to me. Like, you got a lot of guitar players, like, say, like John Mayer, for example. John Mayer plays like two rocks a lot of the times, and his tones are actually considerably dark. If you listen to his live tone in some of the live concerts, it's actually kind of amazing that his sound cuts through, because his tones are kind of muddy. Like, it's what he plays on the neck pickup all the time. And that's another thing. You watch a lot of like these review videos, like these guitar review videos and stuff like that, and people are like reviewing a guitar or they're demonstrating a pedal. Everyone is always on the freaking neck pickup. Like, even with the freaking Les Paul, people are playing on the neck pickup of the guitar. And I find that really weird, to me personally. I honestly do. And like, that's not what I do. I can understand the darker thing if you're at home and you just don't want those high frequencies piercing out your ears like constantly. Then that makes a lot of sense to me. But for like a good guitar tone, I just don't think that it works like that. I just think it's an interesting thing, and it's kind of becoming very prevalent in the guitar YouTuber community, where it's like everybody plays on the neck tone, everybody plays with these dark sounding amps all the time, and everybody wants like a speaker that filters out the high-end frequencies. I don't find the high-end frequencies to be something that are particularly like the worst things in the world to have. That's just my own personal opinion, but I don't. And it's a current trend, I think, for people to be into like these darker guitar tones, because Two Rocks and people like John Mayer are popular amongst the guitar community. But yeah, we'll get back to bright. I mean, there are tons of people out there that love Marshalls, and there ain't nothing dark about a Marshall. Let's put it that way. Soldanos are bright, Marshalls are bright. If you're into that kind of like metal, hard rock sound, you love bands like AC/DC and stuff like that, I mean, those tones are bright. They're not dark. Definitely not dark. But I don't know. It was a lot of rumbling, and I hope I got some interesting ideas across. It's a little weird to walk and talk to myself outside with people all over the place. But if you like this kind of content, like, subscribe, leave me a comment, and I don't know, let me know what you think. Anyway, I'm Jay Byrne. This has been The Effects Loop. Take care.